You're not unhappy because of what's happening, you're unhappy because of what you're telling yourself about what's happening. And once you realize that, it's an enormous breakthrough. First comes the realization, well, this is actually, and then you have to verify it in your daily life and see whenever upset or unhappiness arises, where does it come from? Is it the situation, or is it my reaction, which is a mental emotional thing to the situation? And in most cases you will find it's your reaction. And then at that moment, freedom, the possibility of freedom comes into your life, the freedom to choose not to be in that reactive state towards what is happening in the present moment, not to be antagonistic towards whatever is going on in the present moment for you, but to come to a friendly way of being with the present moment. After all, there's nothing else. So if you don't become friendly with the present moment in whatever form it takes, that is a profoundly dysfunctional state. It creates continuous unhappiness. And many people are in a very minor way in opposition to the present moment. There's always some complaining voice of something, this shouldn't be happening and that shouldn't be happening. And use this for self-observation. I'm not saying eliminate mental commentaries. Why not just be aware of mental commentaries and how they are related to your well-being, or how they interfere with your natural well-being? And once you see that when something that has been or is very unconscious, when it's recognized, it tends to drop away. So you don't have to use your willpower to eliminate negative thoughts. From now on, I will not think anything negative. But just be alert, so that you know what's going on inside you. So observe the ways in which your mind complains, for example. And this is one of the favorite ways of the egoic self to sustain and strengthen itself, is complaining, either internally or out aloud. If somebody will listen, you'll be very happy to complain, to happy in your unhappiness. They are just looking out for the next thing to be upset about and angry about. And that's, the ego loves that. Offended. That's a big thing. It's a very fashionable thing, it seems, these days, to be offended. So here you observe your mind, and once you realize how unhappiness arises more through the mind than through the situation, you have a choice of, okay, and you can ask yourself, what would this situation be like if I did not judge it? And then you experience, okay, for a moment then, you're facing a situation without imposing the judgment on it mentally. And suddenly you experience a moment of opening, a spaciousness, where it's neither good nor bad. You're not saying, this is good. Let's say you're caught in the middle of the rain and get totally drenched. Now, you don't need to say, this is so good, unless you are really enjoying it, which is possible. But you just refrain from labeling it. It is. And when you do not judge a situation, then it doesn't mean you no longer do anything about it. You don't, okay, I'm not judging getting drenched, therefore I'm staying here and not removing myself from the rain. I've become paralyzed because I'm not judging it. So there is another way of taking action, responding to a situation that's not based on some kind of negative judgment. True wisdom is learning to wish that all things should happen as they do. That does not condemn you to inactivity. That's a misconception and a misunderstanding of what that means. It does also not mean that all the things that are happening when people inflict suffering on other humans, that suddenly you say that's a good thing. No. Primarily, it should be practiced with reference to your life, your daily, your interaction with people and things and life situations. That's the primary practice. And so it means no longer being in opposition to the present moment, the unfolding of the present moment, not to internally oppose it. That changes everything. That changes your entire, the way you are. That changes you. That removes the ego, the entrenched illusory identity that loves that opposition. It sustains itself through boundaries, through condemning the other. It loves the otherness of others and emphasizes the otherness of others, so that we observe our own mind and reach the place of freedom. You can practice it tomorrow when you're lining up at the supermarket, or you're stuck in a traffic jam and you think it's bad, or you're going somewhere at the airport and the flight is cancelled, or even worse, they overbooked and you booked but you can't get on, they don't have a seat for you. And then to notice that you actually can face these situations without the judgment and be totally free internally. That gives you enormous power, not egoic power,